Trump acquitted, corona deaths, babies with no butts, and probably you asking, isn't this a science podcast? All that and more on today's episode of Space But Messier. Hey everyone on YouTube, my name is Tony.
I'm Joe.
Yeah, and we're trying something new here. I have to say, guys, I just read this book, The War of Art, which may be backwards too. I don't know how the camera's picking it up. But it's how to break through the blocks and win your inner creative battles. Basically, guys, we haven't released a podcast episode in 7 months, and it's because of this whole idea of resistance and a lot of other things that have been going on in my life that have made it really hard. Just like the last episode I brought you was after a big break as well. So I'll get into that later, but right now we're going to try something new.
All right, let's do it.
Cool. So this audio is also being used for a podcast, and this is my first time trying that too, and we're just going to go for it. So without further ado, here we go.
Let's do it.
Today's episode is brought to you by... It's brought to you by no one.
No.
Well, technically, it's brought to you by Claudia, Joe, Kelcey, Luz Maria, who's actually a space environments technologist at JPL. Shout out to you, Luz.
So rad.
Marcus, Matt, and Erika from the Mana podcast, Kelcey from Kelcey's Kitchen, Michael Stock, Taylor, and Vincent Dibernardo. Those are all the Patreon supporters. Guys, thank you so much.
Thanks,
I know
guys.
It's been a while, but your support is felt, and this is going to be consistent from now on, so I really, really appreciate it. Here we don't take typical advertising. I'm not going to pay a bunch of people to a ton of money to just tell you their thing that doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. So here's how it works. If you support us on Patreon, and we'll share your family-friendly, non-political, non-religious message on the podcast, and you can check out patreon.com/spacebutmessier to find out more.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they bought it? Do you think that sounded like a real ad?
That's good. That's good.
Nice. Cool. All right. Well, I'm Tony DiBernardo, joined here by Joe Schwab for our first week back in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Before we dive into the science, how are you doing, Joe?
I'm doing great. Yeah. Very busy.
Yeah.
Life's been crazy, but I'm really glad to be back here.
Yeah, life's been super crazy. For those of you who don't know, I had my second kid, and he is part of our news roundup this morning, which is actually kind of cool. I promise we'll get into science, but, before we dive into the science, though, I do want to catch you up on some headlines. I know that you only have a limited amount of time to listen to podcasts, so I'm honored that you chose to listen to this one. So here are a couple facts without opinions that you should know this week. One, Donald J.Trump was not impeached by the Senate, so he will finish his term.
Yep.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah.
We're reading, guys. We're reading because it's our first time back in a while.
Yeah.
So,
bear with us.
Working out the kinks.
Yeah.
You just deal with it.
So I'm sure some of you heard the coronavirus has now surpassed the 2003 outbreak of SARS in deaths, and death toll is now over 900.
It's crazy.
Making it an outbreak not to be taken lightly.
Yes. Also, there's a condition out there called Imperforate Anus, where babies are born without an anus. They're born without a butt exit there. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we won't. Okay.
I don't know. That'd be interesting. And if you want to learn more on any of these things, guys, we encourage you to look it up and form your own opinions. We have our own on them, and you guys sure will have your own. So, yeah.
Yeah. So today's episode, we're not going to focus on a specific topic. We're going to catch you up on some current events and in the space industry. And, we totally plan on getting back into topical science and podcast episodes, but that's not what this episode is. So if you don't want to get caught up in the space industry, you can turn it off. Otherwise, here we go. You guys were probably on social media yesterday, and you saw people tweeting or Instagramming or TikToking or whatever these brooms standing on one end. Did you do it?
I tried. I couldn't get it.
Really?
Yeah.
We had our broom standing in our living room all night.
I think I just had a janky broom.
Okay, well, for those of you who don't know, there was a viral tweet that suggested that NASA said that Monday was the only day a standing broom trick would work because of Earth's gravitational pull. Now, let me unpack that for a sentence. A viral tweet suggested that NASA said that. NASA did not say that. A viral tweet did, which is hilarious.
Yep.
But everyone, because NASA was associated with it, everyone put a broom. They basically just, those broom with the slanted bottoms, you basically stand one up in the right position and it just stays standing. So my sister called me and she was like, oh my gosh, kind of freaking out. Like her and her roommates were trying it and they're like, our broom, it's not moving. And then everyone just realized they had just never done that before.
Nobody had taken a slanted broom and tried to stand it up on a flat surface.
So it was crazy. But it's kind of a myth. You can actually do that any day of the year. For those of you who were wondering, it's not like Earth's gravitational pull, but hats off to whoever sent that initial tweet. That was hilarious.
Yeah. Told a lot of people.
Yeah, we sure did. Good luck with his name there, Joe.
Okay, so Corona. Professor Chandra Wickramasinghe.
Sure. Wickramasinghe. Yep.
Of the Buckingham Center of Astrobiology said, the sudden outbreak of a new coronavirus is very likely to have a space connection. The strong localization of the virus within China is the most remarkable aspect of the disease. In October last year, a fragment of a comet exploded in a brief flash in northeast China. We think it probable that this is contained embedded within it a monoculture of
you can say that sentence again if you want. We're quoting a report, so yeah.
And I quote, "We think it probable that this contained embedded within it a monoculture of infected 2019-nCoV virus particles that survived in the interior of the incandescent meteor." Also in quotes, "We consider the seemingly outrageous possibility that hundreds of trillions of infected viral particles were then released embedded in the form of fine carbonaceous dust. We believe infectious agents are prevalent in space, carried on comets, and can fall towards Earth through the troposphere."
There was a meteorite. It hit Earth. Scientists believe that it had coronavirus in it. And now
that's nutty.
Now people are dying.
That's insane.
Isn't that insane? So
makes sense why we keep people in like quarantine when they come back from space.
This is by no means an answer, but this is a speculation from scientists.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why people are quarantined in space because, well, I mean, if we even went to space.
Yeah, that's true.
Cool. The next one, actually my favorite update today, the moon budget. India today reports that NASA wants to land the first woman and the next man on the south pole of the moon by 2024 under its Artemis program. And United States President Donald Trump wants to raise the U.S. Space Agency's budget to return humans to the moon and then send astronauts to Mars. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. We've been saying this forever because we have. But it all has to do with money. And frankly, we've never gotten the money we've needed. If you've seen the Why Didn't We Go Back to the Moon YouTube video, basically our budget in 1967 was 4 something percent of the U.S. total budget. Now we're less than 0.5% of U.S. total budget, which is fine. We have other needs. It's great. The world needs to be taken care of. But I think it's somewhere around 19 or 20 billion, which sounds like a lot, is because it is. But President Donald Trump's fiscal year 2021 budget for NASA is finally worthy of the exploration and discovery goals we have. So the president's budget invests more than $25 billion in NASA, $25 billion US dollars in NASA to fortify our innovative space exploration program while maintaining strong support for our agency's full suite of science, aeronautics, and technology work. And that's Jim Bridenstine, the administrator at NASA. And that's crazy. So on that note, that the Civil News Service reported that administrator, Jim Bridenstine, has unveiled. I read it like Jessica Biel.
As you should have.
Wow, I said it again. Okay. Unveiled a plan for this $25.2 billion. And they're ultimately using this as a plan to get to the red planet because the White House's budget, they've earmarked more than $3 billion for a lunar landing system for humans, which would be the first time, right, in a while. But that budget for the fiscal year provides nearly $2.7 billion for planetary science, including $233 million to develop a Mars sample return mission. Now, I know that was a lot of talking at once. I'm sorry I kind of blew through that. But I guess what you need to know, maybe that was hard to follow, but the president is seeking to raise NASA's budget by a lot. Part of that is to basically send the Mars 2020 rover, which is going to be sent this year in 2020. It's going to arrive next year in 2021, and it includes equipment to seal the samples of Mars in narrow tubes and leave them in the vicinity of Jezero Crater until a small rover from the Mars sample return mission rolls by to pick them up. And then that will mark history because that will be the first time a rocket will take off from another planet.
Wow.
To bring it back to Earth.
That's awesome.
And for those of you who don't know, Mars having like way smaller or way less dense of an atmosphere, taking off from that planet is not hard. I mean, rockets are hard, right? Rockets is hard. Science is hard, but it is 1% thickness, I think, of Earth.
So it's like less atmosphere. Fuel and everything to get up.
Less fuel, less everything.
Cool.
So yeah.
Right on, dude.
Isn't that awesome?
That's cool stuff.
Sweet.
We haven't talked about at all the whole Skynet thing that's going up that SpaceX is doing.
Yeah, that Elon Musk is doing.
Yeah, not Skynet. That's from Terminator.
Wow.
I hope it's not called that.
Wow, it's called. Oh shoot, we should know that. Yeah. Constellation.
Something like that.
Oh, Elon Musk is giving internet to everyone.
Yeah.
But I did see a tweet from him saying that everyone should delete Facebook.
Oh.
Because it says like Sacha Baron Cohen tweeted. No, I don't have this in front of me, so sorry, don't quote me. But Sacha Baron Cohen tweeted that not one company mandates all of our this, not one or all of our water, not one company mandates all of our food, not one company mandates all of our trash. Why should one company mandate all of our information and advertising?
Wow, yeah.
And so people are kind of taking it hard on Facebook. But this, like I said, is a space podcast, but Messier, right? So, guys, I just wanted to kind of do this to kick my own butt and get myself back to doing things I'm passionate about. And part of that is sharing space with others around me. And I think I have this kind of idea that it has to be perfect and then I have to be able to spend all this time on it. When really that's not the case, because what I'm learning is, you know, I posted it, you know, today that, you know, there's this, I have to read it. Hold on. Where is it? It's so good. There's a secret that real writers know that wannabe writers don't. And the secret is this. It's not the writing part that's hard. What's hard is sitting down to write. What keeps us from sitting down is resistance. And, we, in the past, you know, year, 7 months, Crohn's has been really tough. I had a newborn that was born without a butt. That was crazy. Yep. That's an over exaggeration, and he doesn't know yet, so don't tell him. Oh my gosh, this is on the internet forever. Yep. But yeah, and he was born with imperforate anus, which means that his colon never grew to the end of his digestive tract. So in 2 weeks, we have a surgery to connect it all. So I would love some prayers on that. But yeah, things have been crazy, and work has been crazy. Joe and I work together.
Yes.
It's been a very crazy environment here. So we are blessed to just be able to do this. And yeah, this is just an intro for more awesome things to come. So, you know, I know a lot of you guys have supported me throughout this, and thank you so much for your support and your patience. And I do it for me, and I do it secondly for you. And that's really important to me that I make sure that this is something that I want to still do. So hopefully we can make it consistent this time.
Yeah, I think we can.
Yeah, and Joe will be around for a good while. Flo's coming back this summer, but we've got room for everyone. Yeah, so Sweet. It's going to be really, really fun.
And we're all going to take a trip to the Kennedy Space Center.
That's right. Oh, man. Joe just came back from the Kennedy Space Center. So basically, guys, stick around. Hopefully, we'll be pumping these out weekly. We'll have really awesome topics that we're going to cover that we've been wanting to for a while. And we're going to have news every single week on what's going on in the space industry. So please follow us on Instagram. Also, follow my wife because she's hilarious and amazing. She's JC Deebs. Her Instagram is my favorite. But follow us on Instagram. Support us on Patreon if you feel like you'd like to. You can do that for $1 a month. And other than that, please keep a watch for the next show.
Awesome.
Joe, thanks. Even though I steamrolled you and didn't let you talk
That's
a lot.
Okay.
Thanks for joining me today. We're on our lunch break right now, so that's why this is kind of short. I think we were on a lunch break last time, too. Cool. Awesome. Guys, thanks for having us back.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll talk to you next week.
Tranquility Base.